All right, let's open this up. Today, we're really digging into something pretty unique. Dynaxiom entries 00001-000. It's this incredible collection, almost like philosophical aphorisms, born from diary entries, personal thoughts, stretching back decades.
Yeah, it's quite a journey through time with these.
Totally. And what I find fascinating is how these very personal reflections, they just offer this goldmine of insights on identity, observation, even how we feel time passing.
Right.
Let's jump right in with Dynaxiom 0001. It states, a flexible identity, rather than brand loyalty to oneself, allows for the search of a deeper truth. Recorded August 2004, but the roots go way back. 1989, inspired by thinkers like Astley Brilliant, Paul Brunton.
Right. And the initial spark, interestingly, came from music.
Yeah, exactly. Songwriting. You're composing, right? You've got different instruments, a guitar, a bass, a piano. Each brings its own character.
Sure.
The insight here is you got to be flexible. You have to let those different musical ideas just come alive. If you're too rigid, like, oh, I only do this kind of music, you hit what the source calls identity blocks. They stop you being inventive. The example given is like a white person maybe feeling hesitant to make R&B or funky music because it doesn't fit their brand.
Right, their perceived identity.
Exactly. But flexibility means if the idea is there, you just go with it. Don't stop yourself because of who you think you are.
So that raises a really interesting point. How does having this strict brand identity of yourself actually lead to a very narrow experience of life? It connects to ideas like, distancing yourself from your work, maybe not being sentimental about art, even rejecting traditional craft. Some of that sounds a bit like postmodernism, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. That skepticism, the irony.
Right. Postmodernism often focused on deconstruction, tearing things down, but then the source points towards something else, metamodernism.
A metamodernism. Okay.
Yeah, there was this 2010 paper, Notes on Metamodernism. It talks about a shift away from the postmodern condition, emphasizing meaningful connections and sincere engagement, moving past that constant irony.
So like rebuilding.
Exactly. Where postmodernism tore down, metamodernism, as they put it, rebuilds, creating new meaning from what was once proclaimed meaningless. It's about finding sincerity again.
Wow. And that really gets to the heart of what David Foster Wallace was saying, doesn't it? That famous quote about the next literary rebels.
Oh, yeah, the anti-rebels.
Right. The ones who dare to back away from ironic watching, who have the childish gall, actually, to endorse single entendre values.
Treating old human troubles with reverence.
Yeah, being sincere, even if it seems backward, quaint, naive. He says, maybe that'll be the point. Real rebels, as far as I can see, risk things.
That's such a powerful idea, risking sincerity.
Yeah.
Moving beyond that safe, ironic distance.
It really is. Okay, so bringing this identity idea into the broader social world, the source talks about how divisive identities form, especially in big places like the U.S., where our identities are wrapped up in the things we do and the things we own. It gave the example of, during the Bush administration, the pickup truck.
Yes. The truck as a symbol.
Exactly. It became this really stark object of identity, almost like a flag that you could fly, telling everyone something about you instantly.
Right. And Ann Pandian's book, Something Between Us, really digs into that.
Yeah.
Trucks are vehicles of identity in the United States.
Yeah.
The source mentions how these vehicles, sometimes with their exhaust, show how people see themselves and others, that whole rolling coal thing.
Oh, right. Spewing smoke.
Yeah. Described as an assertion of both identity and power. Gleefully called Prius repellent. It's about saying, who truly belongs on the American road and who or what ought not to be there.
Wow. So a physical object becomes this incredibly potent symbol, sometimes bridging like blue-collar identity with bourgeois prosperity.
Yeah.
It really shows how uncomfortable fixed identities can make things.
Definitely. And while a fixed identity is obviously more comfortable for a lot of people, it gives you a sense of community, belonging.
Sure.
The source argues that maybe people in cities tend to have more fluid identities, just because they're constantly around so many different kinds of people, different perspectives all the time.
Makes sense. Exposure.
Yeah. And okay, our brains are sort of wired by age 25, physiologically, culturally to some extent, but identity isn't completely set in stone.
Right.
The source mentions this idea of an epigenetic effect.
Yeah.
Metaphorically, right? Like how environment can influence gene expression. It suggests that maybe if you move to, say, a really rural place for 20 years, your actual core values might shift, not just your surface habits.
So identity isn't just who you are, but where you are and what you experience continuously.
Exactly. Place and experience play a huge role. It's dynamic.
And that idea, discovering new directions, maybe by switching off the autopilot, that ties right into Dynaxiom 0008.
Ah, the blips.
Yes. Very often, our minds guide us in interesting and enriching spiritual directions. It's these little blips that lead to epiphanies. And there's this great personal example from music again, a total 180-degree shift in approach after exploring jazz, classical, world music, deliberately stepping outside the usual.
And that's the key thing for you, the listener, I think. These blips, these shifts. They're discoveries you probably wouldn't make if you just stayed in your default automatic mode.
Right. Stuck in a rut.
Yeah. It's about being open to those unexpected nudges, those little sparks that feel maybe a bit uncomfortable or unfamiliar. That's where the growth happens. That's the manual mode of discovery.
Okay, building on that. Being open, engaging intentionally. Let's pivot to Dynaxiom 0004.
Art and observation.
Exactly. Art gives you powers of observation that you couldn't have gotten otherwise. Bold claim.
It is.
It basically guarantees that if you spent real time, like hours over days or weeks, in museums really looking at art just by yourself, you get better at observing things in general. It argues, okay, artists see things others don't, but it's not magic. It's a skill, something that anybody could learn if they just spent the time to do it, even just taking photos actively.
Like really thinking about the framing, the light.
Yeah, that's active seeing, not just passive looking.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, it means seeing itself is a skill. You learn it. Which brings us neatly to Dynaxiom 0009.
Let me guess. More about seeing.
You got it. Seeing is something you learn how to do. Once you've learned it, you have to find all the blind spots that prevent insight.
Ah, so it's 2 steps. Learn to see, then learn what you're not seeing.
Precisely. It's not just about looking harder. It's about actively practicing observation, like training a muscle, and then asking, okay, what am I missing here? What are my biases?
Like confirmation bias in an argument, maybe? Only hearing what you already believe.
That's a perfect example. Classic blind spot.
Okay. And this whole theme, this careful, deliberate way of engaging, it links straight to Dynaxiom 0003, which gives us this really countercultural idea about photography.
Right, treat it like painting.
Yeah. You should still treat a photograph like a painting. You wouldn't want to make hundreds a day and scatter them around. Photos should be taken as seriously as other forms of art.
That really pushes back against how we use cameras now, doesn't it?
Totally. Smartphones, digital cameras. Snap, snap, snap.
Exactly. And the source flags this as a problem, especially with automation and now AI. You can generate tons of stuff quickly.
Oh, yeah. Images, text, music.
Hundreds, even almost 1,000 pieces of music or art in a year, potentially.
Yeah.
But then the real job becomes curation.
Sorting through it all.
Yeah. You spend more time sifting through the sheer quantity than actually engaging with or creating real quality with intention. The source even notes that back in the 50s or 60s, automatic cameras already created a problem of too many prints.
And now it's just magnified like crazy. We drown in the volume.
We do. We risk losing the value.
And the personal experience shared in the source really hits this home, taking maybe 20 to 30 what I think are good photographs in a year, and then looking back later, cutting that down even more to 10 or 20 or even less.
That's careful curation.
And then the really provocative thought, perhaps even 1 photograph for a year would be sufficient if you were taking photographs for decades, if the goal is deep appreciation.
Wow. 1 a year. That's intense, but it makes the point about intention, right?
It really does. And this commitment to curation, to the manual touch, it connects to this broader life philosophy in Dynaxiom 0002.
The life as a camera one.
Yeah. Life gives us autofocus and manual focus. The original idea was, in manual focus mode, if something is blurry, we compensate. Rather than have this automatically done for us, it's good to turn off anything automatic.
A call for conscious effort.
Right. But the 20-year reflection adds nuance.
Yeah, that reflection is key. It acknowledges, look, you can sometimes take the best pictures with no manual involvement. You know, capturing a spontaneous moment perfectly.
True. Sometimes autofocus nails it.
The deeper insight is that relying only on completely automatic in life, well, that can lead to losing a sense of who you really are. because you might lose track of the rules running those automatic processes, the algorithms, your ingrained habits, society's expectations, and maybe those rules might not be serving you at all.
Like you're on autopilot, but the autopilot's taking you somewhere you don't want to go.
Exactly. It can create a lack of free will if your internal black box is regulating everything that you do, even if you're not aware of it. It's about waking up, being conscious of the drivers.
That's profound. Especially now with algorithms curating so much for us. Makes you question what's really your choice.
It does.
Okay, speaking of things losing power, let's look at Dynaxiom 0005. Warnings lose their power if they are repeated too often and nothing bad happens.
Ah, the boy who cried wolf effect.
Sort of, yeah. It makes you think of Andy Warhol's comment, right? When you see a gruesome picture over and over again, it doesn't really have any effect.
Desensitization.
And in our world, with information constantly hitting us, this feels really urgent.
It really does. The source connects this to what it calls a postmodern world, where we tend to squelch cognitive dissonance.
That uncomfortable feeling when things don't line up.
Right. We ignore it, just to normalize life, keep things feeling stable. By Warhol's time, with his disaster silkscreens, maybe the public was already desensitized by cinema, or maybe just saw it as cool, detached.
So the takeaway for us, for you listening, is what? That we just get numb?
Well, it's a warning about that numbness. In an age of overload, our ability to have a genuine reaction can erode. If you hear dire warnings daily, see upsetting images constantly, and the sky doesn't immediately fall.
You tune it out. Psychological fatigue.
Exactly. So you have to actively work to figure out what's a meaningful warning versus just noise. Otherwise, you risk normalizing really critical issues, climate change, political stuff, health risks that actually need your attention.
The danger isn't just apathy, it's losing the ability to even tell what matters most.
Precisely. Losing discernment.
That connects to another kind of distortion, maybe. Let's switch gears to Dynaxiom 00006. Time.
Ah, the subjective nature of time.
Yeah. Every day, time can seem to move at different rates with different emotional qualities. End of the day, it feels distorted. You're either drained of time or drowning in it. We all feel this, right?
Oh, absolutely. Some days fly, others drag.
But why?
It's fascinating. The source suggests musicians might be really tuned into this. Time can feel slower, even in fast music, if it's tiring to play or if you're just bored with it.
So it's not just the clock, it's your feeling about it.
Totally. Waiting for good news versus sitting through a boring meeting, huge difference in perceived time. If you're in flow, hours vanish. If you're anxious or bored, minutes feel like hours.
So our emotional state actually shapes our experience of time.
That's the nugget here. Your inner landscape dictates how time feels. Understanding this helps you be more mindful of how you're engaging with your moments, because that engagement dictates the richness, not just the clock.
That's a great reminder. Pay attention to the quality of the time, not just the quantity. Okay, let's bring the subjective stuff into, like, concrete choices. Dynaxiom 0007.
Politics and change.
Yeah, it asks us this really direct question. If you're responsible for your political choices, why not just move on from those that are not working?
Good question. Why don't we?
The source says hope. Hope drives everything that we invest ourselves into. It often stops us changing course, even when things clearly aren't working.
And that applies way beyond politics, right?
Yeah.
Careers, relationships, habits. We hang on because of hope.
Definitely.
The source mentions a video by Marth Beck. It contrasts two ways of operating, hope and fear versus trust and contentment. If you're just driven by hope and fear, you're constantly bouncing between extremes. Hoping desperately for good stuff, terrified of bad stuff. It's exhausting, reactive.
Yeah, sounds stressful. What's the alternative?
Operating from trust and contentment, deciding, you're okay with what you have now and trusting things will be manageable. It's calmer, more grounded.
But can you just live in trust all the time? What if there's real danger?
Exactly. The source wisely says you have to use both alternately. You need hope-fear for action and caution, but trust contentment for stability.
So how do you do that? How do you balance them?
Well, the metaphor offered is powerful. Instead of ping-ponging on a timeline between hope and fear, think of it like a braid or a spiral. You can access both axes at any point. You can consciously shift from hope-fear, when needed, to trust contentment for grounding, because they're braided together. It's a more integrated, sustainable way to make decisions.
So for you listening, the idea is to move beyond that simple pendulum swing, weave in trust and contentment, find a more balanced path through complex choices.
That's the core takeaway, a more resilient approach.
Okay, from choices to belief itself. Dynaxiom 0010 tackles suspending disbelief in movies.
A fascinating one.
What do people disbelieve before they enter a theater to have their disbelief suspended? It flips the whole idea around.
It does.
It suggests maybe the strongest belief we bring is in the power of film to show us what is believable, then our collective minds get to work on that belief.
Challenging the idea that we just passively accept the fantasy.
Right. But then this source offers this very personal, contrasting view.
Yeah, the author says they prefer films to be like factual or didactic, focused on excellence at every level, not just escapist entertainment.
They struggle to suspend disbelief easily?
Right. They question the point of it, finding it almost uncomfortable. The analogy is vivid. Having to put on multiple layers of clothing to sit in the theater that had no heat and it was below zero.
Meaning, deliberately ignoring reality feels forced and impractical.
That's the implication. So for you listening, the takeaway isn't necessarily to agree, but to recognize that suspending disbelief is an active choice.
It's not automatic.
No. And understanding its limits or your own preference around it reveals something about how you engage with stories, with art, with maybe even the truths presented to you daily. It makes you ask, what do I really seek from these experiences? Escape or insight, even if it's uncomfortable.
Wow. Okay. What a deep dive that was. We've really journeyed through some complex territory here.
We really have.
Flexible identities, art-sharpening observation, the pluses and minuses of automation, how time bends, the complexities of belief and choice. These Dynaxiom entries, they really push us to question our defaults, don't they? To get out of automatic mode.
They absolutely do. And what's great is that these ideas, even though they started as personal reflections over decades, they offer so much for you to think about in your own life.
Yeah.
Like, how could embracing a more fluid sense of self actually make your daily life richer, free you up?
Or where could you intentionally switch to manual mode? In your work, your hobbies, relationships, where could that lead to new insights, deeper truths?
Exactly. What could you discover?
So our final provocative thought for you today. If seeing is really a skill we learn, and if our environments can actually shape our values, like that metaphorical epigenetic effect, then what deliberate choices can you make about where you live, maybe? What you choose to really look at? Which identities you allow yourself to try on, to explore? All in the service of cultivating new insights and deeper truths on your own unique paths, 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 on your own unique paths,